Hello, welcome to 22 Haitian Baby Page. Since it's a Friday night and my allergies, as you can see, is acting up. Look how red my eye is. Like everything, the sinuses and everything. I don't know what's going on. I need to take my pills after this video. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about movies because I want to watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a long time, but when I get to watch a movie, I watch it. I watch it. Now that my kids are older, especially when my husband is home, I just be like, go with your daddy, because you can't watch this, and I watch it. But anyway, let's start. So this one is a documentary. I love documentaries. I love documentary and I love subtitle movies. So if you send me through YouTube, if you send me a video, a movie, an Asian movie, or anything, an African movie, a Jamaican movie, I watch Haitian movies. I don't mind reading the subtitle, even though technically African movies and Haitian movies and Jamaican movies do not have subtitles in them. I still watch them, but like Chinese movies, Korean films, I watch a couple of those because my sister is really into K-pop and the Korean culture. I watch a lot of those. So I don't mind watching a movie with subtitles. So if you guys know a really good movie with subtitles, just list it below. Give me the name of it. I'll look it up on YouTube, and I'll do my best to watch it, and then comment later and tell you what I think of the film. But anyway, most of these films are just 80s and 90s films because I'm like stuck in the time warp thing. Time warp. Anyway, so this is the life and death of Malcolm X. It talks about his convert to Nation Islam. It talks about his assassination. It talks about this. They show you the secret recordings that the FBI was doing on him. And it talks about his life. It's a really good film. It reminds me a little bit, but not really. It showed you his speeches and stuff like that of Malcolm X. Spike Lee did a film on Malcolm X as well, with Denzel Washington playing him. Now, if you've seen the real Malcolm X, you know he's light-skinned, but he's still a black brother. But you forget that he's not Malcolm X until the end of the film, and you're like, oh yeah, Malcolm X was light. So, you know, he did a really good job with that film. That film didn't win an award, should have won an award. If you see the film, I think they were being a little racist, because if you see the film, you'll see how wonderful the film is. The film was a very good film. It deserved an award. Very, very well put, well written, everything. Now, the only thing I don't like about Malcolm X's legacy is the fact that to learn about Malcolm X, he's not taught in schools. He just like the Black Panther, or the Black Panther, Fred Hampton, which is the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther, the leader. They don't show you these guys. It's kind of like, it's almost like they treat them like act like as if they were like terrorist groups, which they weren't a terrorist group. The only difference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King is Martin Luther King wanted to do, in the beginning, midish, and I say middle because they say that towards the end, before he died, Malcolm X was beginning to kind of go towards more so of Malcolm X styling of the civil rights movement and what Black people have needed in the country, in this country, in the Malcolm X was more looking so in the world, outside of America, like talking about how Black people were treating in and outside, their treatment in and outside of America. And also Malcolm X, if you want to learn about him, you pretty much have to research him yourself or hear about him from word of mouth. The first time, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I heard about Malcolm X was when Spike Lee came out with the film, and my sister came home, was like, oh, they made a film about Malcolm X. I'm like, we're like, who? Like, you don't know Malcolm X? I was like, no. But then again, she picked up a book because she used to read like crazy, but she picked up a book and read about Malcolm X, and that's how she learned about Malcolm X. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh wow. And then I started watching more documentaries and reading on him and stuff like that. And I had to teach myself about Malcolm X because he's not really taught. When Black History roll up, it's like they repeat the same person, the same people. Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and those are like the two main ones that they repeat over and over again. But they don't really talk about the Black Panther movement or Malcolm X. It's kind of like if they do mention them, which they don't, but if you do mention the Black Panther Party, they kind of tie them into the Black is Beautiful movement and try to make it seem like that's all they stand for. But that was like far from the truth. But anyway, yeah. So watch this, or if you want to see anything about Malcolm X, just put Malcolm X on YouTube and you can find many documentaries on him and Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party. Anyway, the other movie that I like, I love musicals. This one is Rocky Horror Picture Show, Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick. Very good film. Very good film. It's a film that you can't take serious, okay? Because he's technically supposed to be a transvestite in the film. Tim Curry. He did a wonderful job. Beautiful legs too for a man. Wonderful job. Good singing. Good acting. Like everything. Even Meatloaf was in the movie. He did good in the movie, but when you watch the movie, you'll see why I did this. This movie was actually, when it was released in theaters, it didn't pick up. Nobody really cared about it until it was released on, I believe it was re-released or it was released on VHS, and they got really popular and they got re-released in the movie theaters. And then, when Halloween rolls up, just Google around your neighborhood to see when they're going to have a viewing, because most people, they come and dressed up like the character. This movie is very good songs, everything. Tim Curry blew it. And then you kind of forget that you're watching Susan Sarandon in the film, and also Barry Bostwick in the film as well. They all did a very good job. Another one is Grease with John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Jeff Conway, Didi Khan. Very good film. It's a high school film. I believe it was made in the 80's, but this movie, the theme is supposed to take place during the 1950s, during the rock and roll, to pay homage to the rock and roll type stage in life. Very good film, PG-13, worth the watch. That was rated R. Malcolm X did not have a rating on it. My Best Friend's Wedding, PG-13, very good. Julia Roberts' character reminded me a lot about myself, in the sense of because I was a tomboy, and the sense of when I was starting to date. I didn't know how to recognize my feelings right away, and I didn't appreciate a lot of things right away. So her friend, Dermot, Merle, whatever, this guy right here. Okay, so she was his college crush. She didn't really care about him. They broke up. He got engaged to Cameron Diaz, and this is Rupert Everett, British actor. I believe this is his first American film, and this is Cameron Diaz's first leading role, because her first role was The Mask with Jim Carrey. She was the bomb in there. That is the best I've ever seen Cameron Diaz. Like curvaceous everything. So anyway, she finds out that he is going to get married, and then she realizes how important he is and tries to break them up. Her gay friend in the film, because he's gay in the film, and I believe he's gay in real life, he's trying to stop her and tell her to do the right thing, but she's like, no, I don't want to lose him. So you kind of see how that plays out. And the best thing about this movie is what? Made in Chicago. So every time when I see the film, I'm like, oh, I was there. So I really like that. I really like that part. Good film. Favorite Patrick Swayze movie? Dirty Dancing. So Dirty Dancing is with stars Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace, and Jennifer Grey, I believe is her name. So I believe it takes place. It's supposed to take place. It was an 80s movie, but it's supposed to take place in the 1950s, 60s, I believe. I believe 1960s. I want to say, because she was gonna join the Peace Corps. And so it's about this teenage girl. I believe she's 19 or 18 or 19. Patrick Swayze is supposed to be like 21, between 21 23 years old. And he's a dance instructor. He's a hoe. And he meets this girl who he can't stand. And the girl is kind of infatuated with him because of the dancing. And something happens to his dance partner where she has to take over. So he has to teach her how to dance. She's like irritated. He's highly irritated. She tells him off that, that kind of have a special sprinkle in men's, stamina, kind of pumps them up when you do that. And it did for him. And then they kind of fell in love, but she was of a different status. She was rich. He wasn't. And it was like a roller coaster thing. But the reason why I have Dirty Dancing in VHS is if you get the original Dirty Dancing, there's a scene where Patrick Swayze gets out of the bed that you see his butt. And the newer remastered one, you don't see that. So, yeah, remember that bit. I'm not the type of girl that look at men's butt, but it was there in my face, and he had a good bottom. Technically, he was a dancer, so what did I expect? This one is Ghost, again with Patrick Swayze. This is Demi Moore who stars in it. This film, actually, it was supposed to be another girl, Molly Ringwald. If you're an 80s fan, you know Molly Ringwald. She was in Pretty in Pink. She was in Breakfast Club. She was in 16 Candles, which I'm going to talk about later. So she's in all these films. And she was supposed to play the film, but she was living in Paris at the time, and she just rejected it, and they gave it to her. And anybody who knows anything about Demi Moore's career, this movie basically made her career, and she skyrocketed from it. Also, good performance from who? Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg plays psychic who's supposed to be a fake psychic, but she gets in contact with Patrick Swayze, and then she's like, oh, wow. And also the president and Scandals is also in there, so you get to see him while he looks young. So this is a really good film. Trust me, it's a good film. It's weird. It's a weird concept, with ghosts and stuff like that. But when you watch it, you kind of forget. You kind of forget it. Like, you kind of forget that you're watching a ghost, if that makes sense. Another good film. The Truth About Cats and Dogs is with Uma Thurman. I can't say this girl's name right. Joanne Groffel. Okay. Anyway, this comedian right here. Okay. So, she's a radio host. She's a model. So, she's insecure. She thinks she's ugly, even though she's not ugly. She's like as cute as pie, but she thinks she's ugly. This guy falls in love with her because she's like the dog whisperer. He talks to her about a dog problem. She helped him out. She came to help visit her one day at her job, which was a radio station. As she sat down, and he thought she was him, and so she told her to go along with it. So he's like really in love with her, but he thinks that he's in love with her. But then she kind of falls for him a little bit. So it's a really good film. Really good film. Now, I'm not really big on Tyler Perry movie. I like his movies because he always ties it into religion, and it's always a life learned lesson in his films. But yeah. Anyway, this is Why Did I Get Married? Now, he did make a part 2 to this film. It's insinuated that he was going to make a part 3, which I can't wait until that one came out. I've saw part 1 and 2. Part 1 is so far my favorite. I haven't seen part 3 because part 3 hasn't come out yet. So Tyler Perry, if you're watching this, we're waiting. So if you're married, especially watch this film. But if you're not married, watch it because you kind of get a glimpse of what married life really is. So you pretty much see yourself into one or more of these couples, if that makes sense. It's a very good film. It's funny. It's entertaining. It grabs your attention. It's a very good film. I don't really care for Eddie Murphy. The only 2 movies I like that he did was Coming to America and this, Trading Places, with Dan Aykroyd. So Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis, actually. Dan Aykroyd, right here. He's the rich guy. He's the poor guy. See? You can see he's poor. And these two guys, these two older white gentlemen right here, if you see the old guy, like if you see Coming to America, which everybody did, if you watch Coming to America, there's a scene where Eddie Murphy takes a wad of cash from Arsenio Hall and puts it in a brown paper bag and gives it to these two old white homeless guys. And then the one homeless guy, um, uh, the one homeless guy kind of hits his brother Mortimer, I think what's his name, and says, "We're back in business." If you didn't watch this movie, you don't understand the joke. I watched this movie first, so I understood the joke. I believe this movie, obviously this movie came out um, uh, before Coming to America, so I got the joke. I got the joke. So yeah, so it's a really good film. They basically make a bet saying that with their teachings, they could turn anybody to a millionaire, which they did with him. Make him successful, which they did do with Eddie Murphy, and they kind of want to see how low this guy would go if his life was like taken away from him, like his status and all that stuff, his job and all that stuff, which they did do. So they found out and they kind of did something about it, basically, because I don't want to give away the movie. Now, this movie right here, this is What Love Gotta Do with the Tina Turner's autobiography. It's not really accurate because even Tina Turner said that some things that happened in this movie never did happen, like the rape scene that never really happened in real life that she said. Other stuff Ike said never really happened, and this movie really kind of trumped his career after that. But he never denied the abuse. He couldn't. So that part I believe was accurate. So anyway, it's about the life of Tina Turner, how she came about, how Ike basically turned this country girl into a Hollywood star. Lawrence, I believe this is Lawrence and Angela Bassett's first leading role. Both of them did a wonderful job. There's no way that you could think of anybody else doing this film but them. And it playing as Ike and Tina Turner. Angela Bassett had amazing legs, amazing arms. Her body was all out perfect for this film. Lawrence Fishburne does not look like Ike because Ike is more dark skinned and Ike is actually very skinny. But Lawrence Fishburne did a very, very good job. And he actually has a really good voice in the film. So, yeah, worth the watch. Obviously, it's R-rated. Single White Female, another R-rated film. This is about this girl right here who has, I believe the girl was her roommate. I'm not sure. Either her roommate or her friend. And she basically, if you see on social media when they say single white female, she trying to be like me. That's basically what this girl did. She tried to take over this girl's life. Got the haircut, got the makeover, tried to dress like her. Like, she really wanted to be like, as it's with Bridget Fonda. Wonderful, 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 wonderful performance she did. And Jennifer Jason Leigh. Wonderful work from her too. Very good job. Very good job. Excuse me. Another movie from Faye Dunaway played Joan Crawford. I know Joan Crawford because I watch a lot of black and white films, so I know Joan Crawford. I didn't know her to this degree. This movie is based off a screenplay. They added some stuff, but it's based off a screenplay of the book that Joan Crawford's daughter actually wrote, because Joan Crawford was a Hollywood star. Everyone thought she was so wonderful. She always donated to kids. She did great work in Hollywood. Everybody just respected her. She was a respected actress. But before she died, or I think after she died, her daughter was like, her stepdaughter, not stepdaughter, her adopted daughter, actually told her how it really is. She adopted a boy and a girl, and yeah, Joan is a trip. So if you see a mother acting erratic or acting crazy, mommy dearest is the term that you mostly hear people say. So watch the movies, you could get it, and you'd be like, yeah, it'll make you appreciate your mom. Or watch it on Mother's Day. I did that once with my mother. I wasn't throwing her a hint or anything like that, but it was just like, okay, let's just for fun, let's just watch it. Another movie that you guys won't guess that I watched that I like is actually Hot Tub. They came out with a part 2, which I haven't seen, but I love part 1 so much. I highly doubt that I love part 2. My sister said that she saw part 2, she really didn't like it, but you know, The first one is always the best one. Very good comedy. It's a hot tub time machine. So these older men, it's with John Cusack and Rob Cordry, Craig Robinson, and Clark Duke. So it's with all these guys, and they try to relive because something happened with this guy where John Cusack was like, "Fine, let's go back to the hangout spot." And you know, the older you get, your hangout spot it's not really popping anymore. But they didn't know that, so they kind of went there, and they kind of was bummed about that. So they went to this hot tub that ended up being the time machine that sent them back into the 80s, where they could pretty much kind of fix their life and fix their future, if you will, because everything that happened to them in the 80s kind of affect their future later on, during the as they grew up as adults. So it's a really funny movie. A lot of curse words, a lot of stuff that I would not suggest that you watch with your kids, even if they are teenagers, going on in the film. It would be awkward anyway to watch that movie with your kids. Another movie that I love, Pride and Prejudice. Now, my sister read this book. She read a couple of chapters to me, and but I just love this movie. Every time it comes on the Oxygen channel, I always freaking watch it. See, that lets you know how much I watch it because it's not even open, and I still watch it. I watched it. I got this on $5 at Walmart, and I still didn't open it because now it's on Netflix, and I watch it religiously there. So it's about this dad who has these daughters. He has more than 3 daughters. And this girl, she reminds me of myself a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. Because she's a tomboy. She's not really about falling in love, having a husband, having kids, type of a thing. Which I wasn't when I was younger. I wanted to get married, but I really didn't want to get married young, which I did. Because I got married at 24 and I had my first kid at 25. My kid was supposed to be born when I was 26, but she came a week before. It's just a very good thing. She didn't like him. He didn't like her. And then it's like one of those things. And then obviously it worked out, you know. But you'll have to see how it ends. It's a really good film. Okay. Another movie is Juno. Juno is a very good movie. It's a pregnant teen film. The only thing that I hated that they said when all these kids started getting pregnant, it's because of Juno. Juno showed you why not to get pregnant. She did not, this movie did not in any way, it's a PG-13 movie. It did not in any way advertise get pregnant because that's wonderful. Go ahead and do it. No, it showed you what can happen and the struggles and all this stuff. So she's basically looking for someone to adopt her baby to, and it's like that's even a struggle. And this is the guy that gets her pregnant. Very good film. Family Ties. So Family Ties, there's a lot of shows that I watch. See, and I have my VHS of shows. I have Good Times, 227, Three's Company, All in the Family, Family Ties, aka this show. The Jeffersons, just a lot of 80s shows that I love to watch, that I sit down and watch. Goonies is another good film. I can't wait to watch this film with my daughter. So sometimes she'll be watching my YouTube, so I can't describe this movie, but it's an 80s movie, and it's worth watching. Even as an adult, it's worth watching. If you're looking for a good, cool movie to watch with your kids, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. Trust me, this one is worth the watch. Another movie that I watch with my kids, which is our favorite, is The Goofy Movie. If you go on, I believe, Netflix, they have The Goofy Movie, but they have part 2. No, part 1 is the best. The best songs. I be talking, acting like I'm in the movie. I be acting the movie out. I be singing, dancing, jumping on my furniture, everything with my kids during the Goofy Movie. Goofy Movie is worth the watch. Trust me. Another movie that I like is this movie, Waiting to Exhale. Now, if you see this movie, guys, do a cop roll over your couch, over the bushes, if you're outside. Exit, get out, do not stop and collect $200. Just go away, because this movie would really just If you hate men, you will hate men even more. It's about these four women and their relationships during the 90s, and some are single, some are married, some are divorced. It's a really good movie. You kind of forget that Whitney Houston was a good actor in this movie, because she was a good actor in The Bodyguard and this movie. But after those two movies, I really didn't really care. She did good in Sparkle, but after that, I really didn't care about her acting a little bit too much. But she did a very good job in this film. It's a 90s film. The best freaking soundtrack in the world. Let's keep it real, y'all. Very good movie. I didn't read. They said it was a best-selling novel. I didn't read the novel. Obviously, I was too young to read the novel. I watched this movie like way later, like when I was in a teenager. I believe I watched this movie. I was too young to watch the movie and fully understand it, but I mean, I liked it. But I fully understand it now that I'm older. You know, there was a lot of parts that my sister was like, "Get out the room, get out the room," that I understand now. But it's a good 90s film. Beautiful, beautiful black ladies in this film. Beautiful. Everything they have on in this film. Me, myself, I would still sport it. Every time I see it, I'm like, I have to go to the thrift store and look for something like that. So we're going to talk about Joy Luck Club. Joy Luck Club is the best freaking movie in the world. 4 stars, and they deserve every freaking single star. It's a Chinese film. I'm not going to say it's a Chinese film. It's a Chinese-American film. A lot of it is in subtitle because half of it is in America, half of it it takes place in China, because it's about these 4 ladies they are the first Chinese-American generation in America, and it talks about their life and also talk about their mother's life. So you kind of see how their mother journey, what they went through, which affected their kids and their current life. So it's a really, really, really good film. And then plus on top of that, you got Russell Wong. You can't go wrong with Russell Wong. He's sexy and tall and just a good bowl of yumminess is what Russell Wong is. Like, if you watch Romeo Must Die featuring Aaliyah, and he's in the film. You know, he's the tall guy, the cocky tall guy. He's found. Okay, let's keep it real. House Sitter, Steve Martin. I love Steve Martin. I love Goldie Hawn. Okay, so this movie, House Sitter. I'm sorry, guys, for the sniffling. But this movie, House Sitter, is with Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin, 2 people that I really, really, really like. So anyway, Steve Martin bought this house with the big bow on it for his fiance to propose. She turned it down. He's an architect. She turned it down. He told Goldie Hawn about it, even draw it, because obviously he's the architect, so he could draw. He drew the house. It was like in a small town, so she moves in there. And in order for her to get stuff, she lied and said that she was his wife. He got furious and was about to tell everybody, that's not true, that's not true. This is me, my mother's favorite film. But then he found out his ex-fiance was jealous. And you kind of see the ball rolling. So it was a really good film, trust me. It's worth the watch. You'll laugh. You'll laugh. How can you not laugh at Steve Martin? The movie Big with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was big in the 90s, especially big in the 80s. This movie was made in 1988, 1987, I believe. And Tom Hanks played a little boy who grows up from going to a carnival with this machine, and this machine made him young. So it's kind of like a Freaky Friday type of thing, but except he's not switching with anyone. A concept, but except he's not switching with anyone. And his friend who is a young guy, who is technically his age, tells him what he needs to do as an adult, you know, to get a job, to find a place to stay, yada yada. And he decides to get a job at the at the toy factory, at the toy company. And obviously he's doing really good because he's a kid, so he knows what kids like, what kids don't like. So the one thing I like about him, Tom Hanks in this film, he says a lot of things in this film that, you know, when you're an adult, there's a lot of things that you think is so hard that you're just like, oh, that just stresses you out. And he says and does a lot of things that you're just like, it's not that complicated, you know? So I really like that. My other film, favorite film. It's on Hulu. I watch it on Hulu like 2,000 times. Every time it comes on Oxygen, every time it comes on Lifetime, I watch it all the time. When Henry Met Sally, Billy Crystal, favorite Billy Crystal Meg Ryan movie. Not my only favorite movie, but this is my number one favorite movie that I have to say. If they say, "What's your favorite Meg Ryan movie?" When Henry Met Sally. What's your favorite Billy Crystal movie? When Henry Met Sally. This is a 90. It takes place. It's basically about two people. They couldn't stand each other, and then they became friends, and then they eventually kind of love each other. I don't want to give the movie away. R-rated, of course. I believe this movie was made in 1988 or 1989. Excuse me, or 1989. Very good film, worth the watch. Very good. Life just keep bringing them together. Like they go years apart, and they just keep bringing them together. Another film. Okay, two stalkerish type film. Fear. Excuse me. Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon, and Crush with shoot, I always do that with something Silverstone. I can't remember her name now. Anyway, she got really popular from the 90s because she was in like two Aerosmith videos, Alicia Silverstone, and her best friend at the time was Liv Taylor. Liv Taylor took her dad, okay, her friend being her music video, and she was in the video Crazy of Aerosmith, and then she was in the video Jamie Got a Gun, like that, and those two videos prompted her to get this role because everybody was like, who's the hot blonde that's in Aerosmith's video? And this was her first film. These two people are not what they appear to be, which is Alicia Silverstone and Mark Wahlberg. They're not what they appear to be. Alyssa Milano is also in this film. They're basically crazy, like bat split crazy, and it's worth the watch. It's really worth the watch. Both of them are R-rated, obviously. She's obsessed with this guy that moves into her property and makes up wild accusations, and he's in love with this girl, but kind of go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and wants to just tear everybody out that's in his way to preventing her from being with him. Okay. Pauly Shore. Anybody that was around in the 90s, no Pauly Shore. If you don't know Pauly Shore, you've been hiding under a rock. And if you were hiding under a rock, it's probably the same rock that was used in Encino Man. So Encino Man is Pauly Shore's first film. Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser, and Sean Astin film. Sean Astin is the guy from Rudy, and also he was also in Hobbits and all this Lord of the Rings type stuff. I don't need to say who Pauly Shore is. Pauly Shore is the man, and Brendan Fraser, even though he don't say much in this film, he does a really good job in this film. So anyway, this is Brendan Fraser played a guy that was stuck in the Stone Age, that was he was frozen, okay, and then Sean Astin and Pauly Shore found him in Sean's pool, and they defrost him, and became friends with him, dressed him up like a kid in the 90s, and brought him to high school. That's what everybody would do, right? That's what everybody would do. And yeah, let me go ahead and bring a caveman to school. So it's a really good, funny film. It's really funny. Really funny. Another one is Son-in-Law. It says he's a relative nightmare. It is outrageously funny. So this girl right here, Becca, is the character's name. She is from a small town, and she is expected to get married and all that stuff. But she goes to LA and go to school where she meets Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore convinced her to stay and live the life, the real LA life, which she did, and she come back home like this. Which obviously she was when she left, she was kind of looking Amish a little bit. She comes back looking like this. Her parents and her boyfriend is like, ooh, shocked. To prevent her boyfriend from proposing, she duped Pauly Shore into faking that he is her fiance. So you kind of see where this is going. It's really, really good. So he's trying to prove to himself, to not himself, he's trying to prove to the family that he is worthy of her hand in marriage. Another Pauly Shore movie in the Army now. If you are a military family or if you're in the military, you don't even have to be in the military. This is a wild laugh. It's a really good film with Pauly Shore where he's like basically in the Army. He joins the Army because he wanted to open a business with Andy Dick, Chicago comedian, which is very funny guy. But they didn't have any money, so in order to get money, they joined the Army. So very good film, very good film. Okay, let's get to 80's teenage type-ish movie. We'll start with this one first, only because I really have to talk about this one. Okay, so I got this one because I love Don't Cost a Thing. I don't care about this. This is a remake. Malibu's Most Wanted. This is a funny movie, and this is also my husband's favorite movie too. It's very funny. It's with Taye Diggs and is in there. Snoop Dogg is in there. Jamie Kennedy, obviously, Anthony Anderson is in there. Regina Hall is in there. Damon Wayans is in there. Blair Underwood is in there. It's really, really good film. Really, really good film. Now, this film right here, Love Don't Cost a Thing with Christina Milian and Nick Cannon. Yeah, they should have just left that movie alone. This movie, I don't like this movie. I don't care about this movie. This movie is lame to me. This is a remake of Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey and Amanda Peterson. Amanda, may she rest in peace, Amanda Peterson. This girl, she died, I believe last year. Very good movie. She wore cool freaking clothes. Can't Buy Me Love. So what happened is this boy right here, the geek, he saved up a lot of money to buy a telescope because he's really into astronomy. This girl wanted to show off so bad, she decided to wear something that she wasn't supposed to wear that belongs to her mother. Anyway, it gets destroyed. I can't tell you how. And he told her, fine, I'll give you the money to replace the item, but you have to pretend that we go out for like a week or 2 weeks or something like that, or no, a month. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that, but it's either you do it or you get killed by your mom. So she was like, fine, I do it, whatever. And he told her, being with you is going to make me, because she's like the leader, cheerleader, captain of the cheerleader. And he's like, well, that's going to make me really popular. She's like, no, it's not. And it worked. So he got popular. Obviously, he got popular. He got full of himself and all this stuff. And then you kind of pretty much see what happens in the end. But I like this one a lot better than the one with Nick Cannon. And Steve Harvey was in the one with Nick Cannon, but I didn't like his performance in the movie at all. Another Patrick Dempsey movie was Loverboy. Loverboy is about this kid who wants to act like he's really immature, don't do good in school, he don't care, so he's forced to get a job so that way he could go back to school to be with his girlfriend. But he kind of becomes a gigolo a little bit. Not a little bit, he does. He becomes a gigolo with these women, Kirstie Allen and beautiful Kirstie Allen. She's beautiful, but she's always beautiful. Barbara, Karen, Carrie Fisher, Kate Jackson. So it's not like he's sleeping with housewives, but they're really attractive housewives that he's sleeping with. And very, 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 very funny. Very funny because and this, his dad kind of thinks he's gay because his dad didn't really realize what his son was doing. Very funny. Okay, another 80's film. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. A, I love this film because it's with Matthew Broderick. B, I like this movie because it takes place in Chicago. And if anybody knows me, they know that I pretty much grew up in Chicago. So it's very good for me, again, like I said with the other film, for me to be like, oh, I know that place, I know that place. Just like I did with My Best Friend's Wedding with Julie Roberts. Really good, iconic. It's about a slacker who always tried to ditch. That's basically what he's doing, ditch. And he finds a way to get his girlfriend and his best friend out of school by lying. And the principal, or I think the assistant principal, tried to catch him in the act. And it sounds simple and stupid and like, okay, that's not much going on. But for this day, it was a lot going on in this day. It's a real riot. It's a good film. When I love the 80s, they mentioned this, but when people talk about movies in the 80s, they don't really mention this movie, and I don't know why. This is Some Kind of Wonderful. I really like this film. This film is a John Hughes film. The rest of these are John Hughes movie. John Hughes is like the picture for 80s, teen 80s movie. Like he got, for an adult, he got what it was like to be a teen. Even it was still relatable. He did a lot of 80s film that even when I watched it in the 90s, it was still relatable. So I'm pretty sure even if you're like 2017, you could still relate to his film. So anyway, these kids are supposed to be the poor kids. She is supposed to be I believe her name was Amanda in the movie. She's supposed to be the rich kid. She break up with her doofus boyfriend and kind of use him to make her boyfriend jealous, but she's upset because she really loves him, but he doesn't know that because she's like a tomboy. He and his best friend, he doesn't really look at her that way, so it's really nice to see how that goes. So this girl right here, Molly Ringwald, she plays in this film. 16 Candles. I can't wait until my daughter becomes 16 because right when she becomes 16, we're popping popcorn and we're watching this. So for 16 Candles, she basically is about a 16-year-old that everybody forget about her birthday because her birthday weekend falls on the same weekend of her big sister's wedding. She falls in love with this guy, Jake Ryan, who is a senior. She's a freshman. He doesn't notice her. He doesn't give her the time of day. I think she's a sophomore. Yeah, she's a sophomore. He doesn't give her the time of day. He doesn't notice her, but something happens where he notices her. But you kind of have to see how this play out. Very good. It's like one of those movies. It doesn't matter how old you are. When you watch it, you're just like, oh, I remember that. I remember when I had my crush. You know, it kind of takes you down the path. Or if you watch it, you can still relate to it. Pretty in Pink. So Pretty in Pink, another Molly Ringwald movie. So this guy's in love with her, but she is in love with him. So it's like a triangle, a love triangle kind of a thing. But they're poor, he's rich. So John Hughes do a lot of class status in this movie, like upper class versus middle class / lower class type of a thing. At least in this film he did. So it's very good. They have a prom scene that is the bomb diggity in there, and so it's very good. It's very good. This guy, his name is Ducky. He is the coolest character in this film. Very cool in this film. It's worth the watch. It's really worth the watch. Really worth the watch. This one right here. This is The Breakfast Club, aka my favorite film and the last film that I have. So this Breakfast Club, this is with Paul Gleason, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Jude Nelson, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedley. Sorry. So it's still relatable. It's still relatable because it takes place on a Saturday in Chicago because I believe John Hughes was from Chicago, so he did a lot in Chicago, film wise. It is this is the jock, this is the basket case, aka popular girl. This is the brain, the smart kid. This is basically what we would consider now the emo girl, weird kid, as they would put it in the 80s. And this guy right here, he is the criminal, aka the not class clown, but he's the bad kid, basically. The one that, you know, the kid that you go to high school with that you're like, oh yeah, you're going to end up in jail. That's who he is. So all of them are stuck in one room for the Saturday, and they all have to interact with each other. They don't have to, but they end up interacting with each other. And it's very amazing to see what happens. You see yourself in each one of these characters. each one of these characters, you see yourself, and you kind of find out why they are the way they are, and you actually find out why they end up in detention as well. It sounds like, okay, who cares? But trust me, when you watch it, it always comes on like at VH1. When it comes on, sit down and watch it, or just go to the thrift store, pay $1, pay 50 cents, and go. Like 59 cents I paid for this movie, classic movie, and watch it. It's really, really, really good. So that was it. Took me long enough, right? So that was it. That was all the movies that I end up. That is my favorite movie. Aside from my movie with Audrey Hepburn, my favorite Audrey Hepburn movie is with. It was, oh, I don't know, I forgot the other guy's name, but it's with Audrey Hepburn and shoot, I has his name in my head. But anyway, it's the movie Sabrina. It's the movie Sabrina. That is my favorite movie. After I watched that movie, I really wanted to go to Paris. I saw myself living in Paris. I really hope one day I go to Paris. Hopefully, way before I turn 40. Please, Jesus. Very good film. Very good film. Have I had that guy's name in my head. I can't think it. Anyway, comment, subscribe. Tell me which one of these are your favorite movie, or tell me if, because I told you about the movie, if you are planning to see any of these movie, or if you were like, hey, let me watch it, because the Joy Luck Club movie, the Asian film that I was telling you about, I brought it to we were having a girls movie night, and they were just like, I don't want to watch it. And when I popped it in, oh, they love the movie. So it is worth the watch, okay, y'all? Okay, well, thank you guys. Love you. Comment, subscribe, share this film. Comment below and let me know which one is your favorite film out of these, or which one is your favorite film in general. And tell me why, so that way if I didn't watch the film, maybe it'll prompt me to watch it. All right. Thank you. Bye.